Hello everyone, and welcome to a very special video. What if you could get a genuine specialty coffee pour over every single morning without doing too much on your own, without a gooseneck kettle, without a scale, without a separate grinder? That ritual is very nice and I enjoy it myself pretty often, but sometimes just pressing a button and getting a very good quality specialty coffee is really nice to have. And that is the promise of the xBloom Studio. So for the last few weeks, this is the machine I've been waking up with, and I've been brewing coffee with it daily. So can it actually deliver? Let's find out. Quick note before we get into the video, this machine was indeed sent to me by xBloom and I thank them a lot. It's really kind from them. As a little context, I've been making coffee for a little bit over a year now, and I discovered pour over through this journey. If you've been following the channel, you've seen my first pour over and what I've learned throughout my journey with it. I usually drink pretty classical V60 style of pour overs. I have a V60 style brewer here at home. So the idea of this machine really intrigued me, and I enjoyed using this machine for the past few weeks. First thing, this machine looks very nice. When it first arrived, I was really impressed by the actual footprint. I was expecting a much wider machine, but this really takes almost as much space as a gooseneck kettle base. So it's really compact and it's actually packed with features. They have it in a few different colors. Mine is the black version. They also have it in white, there's a green color, and there is a special color that has green and gold. I'll try to put a image on the screen right now. And honestly, if you look at this machine from a side, it really doesn't look like a coffee machine. There is no big screen in the front, nothing overwhelming. There is actually, everything is controlled with these three knobs on the front. They have these nice LED screens, really retro pixelized, that show up, and you can actually go through different menus. All the way on the left, there is the grinder knob. So when you click on it, you have another menu that opens up. You can set up the grind setting right here. And you can also set up the RPM with the middle knob. And it goes all the way from 60 to 120. And then the last button is to actually start the grinder. Let's stop it because there is no coffee right there. The middle knob is for the actual brewer part that is going to be right here. So if we go into that menu, we have the pour style. So for example, I can choose either centered, circle, or spiral. So it's going to go from the middle, turn into circles to the outside, and then back to the middle, and repeat that again. In the middle here, we can choose the water temperature. So it goes all the way from room temperature, down here, room temperature, to boiling water. So it actually goes up to 95, I think, and then is boiling point. And from what I've had the time to test, this temperature is actually really accurate. And then, of course, the button to start the actual kettle movements. And the third and last knob on the right is actually the scale, because this machine has an integrated scale that you can find down here under the... You can go into that menu and actually see that it weighs things out. So for example, I have that, I can tear it with this, and I can also just leave the menu with that. So everything feels really genuine. You can use every single part of the machine separately. It has 80 adjustments, 80 grind size adjustments, And it is advertised that it should be able to grind all the way from espresso to something like cold brew or a French press. I have tested the espresso grind size, and I am actually surprised. It really can grind for espresso. You may have a little bit of a harder time dialing in some lighter roasted coffees, or if you're brewing something really light, you might even run out of fineness on the grind settings. One thing that really surprised me also is that the machine is kind of tall compared to what I expected it to look like. So just be aware of that. If you have low headspace in your kitchen, just consider checking out the size and if it fits in your kitchen. Where this machine shines the most is when you combine every single piece of it in order to make it make a coffee for you on its own. So what I'm going to do right now is start a little brewing while we continue the review. The machine comes with two supports. We have this one that is for XPods. This is, I haven't found any coffee brewers in Europe to actually give XPods, but this machine, one of the great things about it, especially in the American part of the world, is that this is actually a pod machine. You can buy pods with whole beans inside and a special recipe designed for those beans. By using a card that looks something like this or working through the app, you can actually brew exactly how the roaster intended it to. But it also comes with the multi-purpose brewer that they have. So it's kind of a flat bottom brewer. These are the paper filters that come with the machine. I ordered a few more than what they come stock. You can also, I think, find other paper filters that are compatible, but I would recommend you to get the xBloom ones, just because these fit perfectly inside of the brewer, and as the brewer is going to move around, it might actually fold the paper if it's too tall. So let's get a little filter paper inside here. I will go ahead and rinse the paper filter. This is not something that is necessary to do, but I really prefer to get rid of that a little bit of a paper taste. Done. You can do this either in the sink, like I just did, or with a kettle, or even with the actual kettle that is included in here. So we put that here. And let's get into the app. So what is actually nice with this machine is that in the app, you can personalize and create your own recipes. For example, what I've done here is that I've done my 3-pour personal recipe that I usually make with my V60, and I adapted it for the machine. So I set it to 18-gram dose. With this brewer, the maximum dose is 18 grams on this machine. I'm setting it to a 1:15 ratio. What I wanted to do compared to last time I brewed is to personalize the time of my bloom. My bloom was a little bit too long, so I will do 10 seconds less. Basically what it's going to do is that it's going to bloom with 20% of the water, so 54 milliliters. Then it's going to wait 20 seconds, then pour 108 milliliters. Then it's going to wait 10 seconds and it's going to pour the last remaining water that it has. I'm setting it to a grain setting of 60. You can see that here it says that it is in the French press cold brew range, but it's really the low end, and I'm using a very complex coffee that really needs a little bit of a coarser grind. You can see that you can choose either you're going to use an XPod, the Omni dripper, or another dripper, because you can use your own separately, just putting it here with the server. You can either choose to use the grinder or to not use it and use your own separate grinder, and the grind setting speed is 120 RPM. This is a dialed in recipe. One thing that I want to show you is that here, when you personalize one pour, you can personalize the volume, you can personalize the temperature of the brewing. So For example, you can do 93 degrees on your bloom, then do a hotter second pour, a room temperature third pour, and then a boiling point temperature on a fourth pour, for example, if you want. You can do whatever you want with this. You can also personalize the flow rate from 3 milliliters per second all the way to 3.5 milliliters per second. You can also here personalize the pouring style that I've talked about a little bit earlier, is either center, spiral, or circle. Do you want agitation before or after? I wanted to activate the agitation before the bloom just because it grinds. I wanted to shake a little bit the brewer so that the grounds settle nicely. And I have a little bit of an agitation after the bloom, and I have also personalized an agitation after the last one. So yeah, this is my recipe. I'm going to actually save it with my shortcut, my A shortcut. It has 3 shortcuts. I will show you that menu a little bit later. But we actually want to start this recipe. So I'm going to click on start. Now, I'm actually going to start by weighing the beans, and because we can, we're going to be using the scale that is integrated. So we're going to go into the grinder part. You can also see that on the app you have everything that is showing. Let's use this as my device. You can also see that the screen on the machine and the app are synchronized. So if I tear it here, you're going to see it move on the screen also. I'm using some Colombia washed and co-fermented. It smells amazing. It's a really funky coffee. We lost the bean. That is all right. Then we just put the beans inside of the grinder. You can close it. And back to the app, we go to our 3-pour recipe that is open right here, and we can go ahead and start the machine. Let's go. Before that, let's not forget to put a server underneath. I forgot to do this the first time, and I had coffee all over the machine after that. Let's go. You can see it move and start grinding. Now that the grinding is done, it goes back, shakes a little bit because I activated the option. And it's going to start pouring. The machine gives you a lot of freedom. You can either use your own brewer just by using it as a kettle. You can use it just as a grinder, complemented by the scale. You can even use it just as a very, very fancy scale. But it's not made just to use the scale. It's made to use everything together, and everything goes together, in my opinion, perfectly. There it goes with the second pour. You can also see that while the extraction is going on, you can actually just leave away from the coffee and just follow everything from the app. You have a little graph with the water flow and the coffee weight, the output via the scale down here. You can look and see what is going on with your pour. So I've been using it for the last 2 weeks daily, making coffee every day, sometimes even multiple times a day. And from the coffee quality side of things, I am extremely surprised. The coffee is just amazing. I can even say that it makes better pour-overs than me. I've also shared some cups of coffee with some friends that are really big coffee enthusiasts, and they were genuinely surprised by how good the coffee actually comes out of a machine without doing it yourself. Let's actually drink the coffee. Cheers. Cleanup is really easy. You just take this out and toss it into the garbage bin. Let's put this here for the moment. One last thing that I wanted to show you is the shortcut menu. So as I said in the beginning, it has two main menus. This is the one where you can go through the different parts of the machine, or by clicking the middle button 3 times, you get into the shortcut menu, and you have actually 3 shortcuts. You can assign a recipe to each of these shortcuts and then just go fast. So what I've done, I have linked my 3-pour recipe with the shortcut A, and it's just going to get into the grinder menu. You actually weigh your coffee beans and use your 18 grams, and then you go ahead to the recipe. And you can go on and do the exact same thing that I've done with the app, but without the phone. Man, this coffee is really, really good. Now let's get into my opinion of the machine. I really like this machine. Maybe the price, this machine comes at $599, which is no small investment. This is not an impulse buy. But consider this, if you get this machine and an espresso machine, you have everything you need to make pour-overs and espresso very easily, without getting 5 different machines. Another thing that can be a little bit fiddly is while putting the beans into the machine. It's kind of a very narrow space. You can drop them a little bit on the side. The X-Pods are a really, really nice feature that I would like to see coming to Europe so that I can use it. But in contrast to that, within the app, you can find recipes for specific coffees from different roasters. I would like to see more and more roasters use this app and bring recipes to the machine, so that you can just try different recipes that come from the ones who roast the beans themselves. It is true that the best experience with the machine comes when you use the app and personalize the recipes, but the app is not something that you are going to use every single time you brew coffee with the machine. And another amazing thing with this machine is that once you hit start with the brewing, you can walk away and come back 5 minutes later to a very, very tasty cup of coffee. I also like that it works with your own brewer if you're not a fan of this Omni brewer here. The big question here is the xBloom Studio worth it? If you love pour-overs, but you're a little bit kind of tired of making taking the time and making your own pour-over every single day, this machine solves the problem better than anything that I've seen, and the coffee is actually great. If you're a deep coffee enthusiast, you might resent a little bit giving away all the control to the machine. That is a personal choice. I still love the process of making a coffee. I do make my own pour-overs when I can, but if I don't have any time in the morning, if I'm going to work and I just can't handle the fuss of making a pour-over, this can do it with the press of a button. A thing that I've also thought about is this machine could very well be used by a small coffee shop that cannot afford a second barista or someone that handles pour-overs decently. This could be used in a coffee shop because on the back here it has a plug, and you can actually just plug this directly into a source of water to not use the water tank that is here on the back. Yes, $599 is not cheap, but in my opinion, the grinder on its own could get really, really close to that value. And here you get a very nice quality grinder, a very good precision scale, and a genuinely smart brewer all in one package. I've been reaching for it every single morning without thinking twice, and I think that said something, and I genuinely think that I'm going to be using this machine every single day for the foreseeable future. That brings us to the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I will leave a link in the description to the xBloom Studio. If you have any questions about the experience, about the machine, the workflow, drop them in the comments down below. And you can also tell me if you would be interested that I dive into that I dive into it a little bit more in a few months when I've really discovered every single thing about it, and do a little bit of a long-term review. If this video was helpful to you, a little like helps the channel a lot, and we can maybe reach other coffee enthusiasts just like us. But in the meantime, I will see you in the next coffee video. Cheers!